Today I'm going to be in the tunnel, the high tunnel, cutting these amazing Snapdragons that y'all saw me planting, I don't know, the end of February, beginning of March. It's now June 7th and they're looking amazing. You can see the height that I have on them. They're probably about 4 feet tall. Okay, that might be dramatic. They're maybe 3 feet tall or so. But, you know, just to get a sense, they're all the way up to my waist. That is insane. So they're looking beautiful. This particular variety is called Lucky Lips. And it was a new variety that I tried out this year that was supposed to get really tall as it is. And I'm obsessed with the color. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I just love this white with the pink little lips in the middle. It's delicate and feminine, and it's going to look so beautiful both in market bouquets, going out to florists, and even in bouquets that we take to farmers market. So I'm going to show you today how I'm going to harvest out these Snapdragons. So I'm going to start from the back and I'll work my way up. I strip in the field, so I'm stripping the lower foliage off that will go down into the bucket, but I usually make a handful of Snapdragons. We had one of our team members who started last month, and that person actually took the Snapdragons and dropped them one by one into the bucket. That's not how you do it. You need to get a handful at least of your stems, and then I'm always conscientious that I'm making them around the same height. It's really frustrating when you see a bucket full of blooms that are cut and one's up here, one's down here, like hidden in the big bundle of blooms. Try to make them consistent from a stem length standpoint. So I kind of use this as my base, as my template to match up to the next stem to cut it. So I take it and I place it down to the next stem and just kind of eyeball the length and cut them both at the same length. And it doesn't have to be dead on. That one was a little bit longer, but you get the general idea. Keeping your stems at the similar length is the way to go to make sure that you have consistency when you go to put them inside and in the cooler if you have one. I didn't realize that I do this, but as I'm bunching them, I kind of hit the stems up against my chest to push the stem that I just cut up and make sure my stem lengths are consistent. So this is what I have so far, a big bundle of Snapdragons, all consistent stem length. And I don't know, it's about 7:30 a.m. It's hotter than blazes already, so I'm a little behind, and of course it's hotter than heck in the tunnel. I'm a little behind on harvesting. Typically I'd like to come out and harvest these around 6:30 a.m. for my time zone here. I'm in Central Time Zone, Zone 5B, Central Iowa. It's actually hot here, incredibly hot. We're going to hit 95 degrees today. So especially on those super duper hot days, it's more important to get up as early as possible and get these harvested. But I'm going to take my handful, my bundle here that I'm going to cut, I'm going to put them immediately in water. And that should help make sure that they don't flop over. Somebody did ask about floppy stems on Snapdragons. I never have issues with floppy stems on Snapdragons if I get them in water right away and into the shade. If you cut on a hot day and you leave them out of water for too long and you do not get them in a shaded spot out of the direct sunlight, they will wilt like crazy. But it's still pretty early morning. They're looking amazing. And I'm going to get them in water and they're going to be perfect. Does anybody have like a color of Snapdragons that you don't necessarily care for? I think Adam told me his least favorite was like this real pale yellow color. I actually love them because they add this crazy amount of pop of color into a bouquet. These though, I think they might be right up there for me for like maybe one of my #1 colors that I've grown. I love pink pastel-y tones. Adam did say his favorite was Chantilly, so you guys have to check that out. Chantilly is one that we typically grow in spring. I didn't do it this year because I was trying some other Snapdragon varieties. This is one of them. Chantilly might get added back into the mix for next year to grow. I'm almost done here. I missed a couple just because I was talking to you guys. But I typically like to get a giant handful to be able to take to go put in my bucket. I don't want to have to go make a bucket run to drop them off when I don't have very much. But at this point my hand's starting to cramp up and I need to go dump them soon. I will in a minute. Just a few more. Just a few more. But this is how I harvest out my Snapdragons. Oh, we got a wonky stem here. I don't know if you can see that. That's okay. This is going to be something really fun and interesting that a floral designer is going to like to work with. Just has a natural curve. It's pretty cool. The rest of them were stock straight. Got another wonky one. And the reason why they got like this is I do not have them netted, which you saw, and the doors open in the back. The wind probably blew it down, or we watered back in here with an overhead waterer and that pushed them down because they're so tall, big, and heavy. Okay. Okay. I took the last one. I have more that are getting ready to bloom out, but this is all I have today. You can see the amazing armload of Snapdragons that I have. These are incredible. So, so, so pretty. Get a better look at them. Aren't they gorgeous? And so full and so tall. They're absolutely incredible. So I'm going to take my stems now and I'm going to go place them into my bucket. While we're on the subject of Snapdragons, this is another experiment that I did. I actually planted these last year at the end of July, and my hope was to try to get them to bloom for fall bouquets. They did bloom a little bit, but not as much as I had hoped. But we pulled up the fabric this spring and we saw that the Snapdragons were still alive. They were growing and Adam wanted to till them in. Luckily we didn't, and they have been blooming prolifically. And what a nice thing to have, you know, early season. It's the beginning of June. It has been amazing to have these Snapdragons. The only thing bad was I had planted the colors for fall. So there's a few rose colored ones, but most of them are a yellow, and I have some red, and I also have some burgundy. But the yellow's been passable for a nice early spring color. And actually the red and the burgundy, we've been able to use them in bouquets too, and they've looked really, really pretty. So awesome experiment, kind of, you know, going into the territory of cool flowers. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for joining and happy growing.